Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my darling co-host, Phil. Ooh, we got Phil. How you doing, Phil?
Good. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I mean, my favorite part of talking about the Amazing Race Australia is talking about it with you. So, Tuesdays are a great day. Yeah. How have you been?
It's been a good week.
How's your Easter? Did you do anything fun?
Nothing too crazy.
Did you have a game? I thought.
No, we took it kind of quiet this week. Next week we've got a game going on, and we've got a fun tag game coming up for the Oscars as well. So yeah.
What day was that again?
Friday, April 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I still want to participate if there's still spots left. So,
Perfect. Well, hopefully some listeners might participate too.
I would love it. And we're both going to be, with Reality Pop, we're going to be doing a Survivor quiz game. So I don't know much more details than that, but listen out for it. When I know more, I will let you guys know more of when we're going to be competing. I don't think I'll do very well, but Phil over here knows everything, it seems like, about these seasons 20 years ago. And I'm just like, I remember Rob and Amber.
Yeah, I think I'll do okay at the old stuff, but the new stuff not so hot. So I don't know their names.
Isn't that interesting, though, how we remember like the older stuff? Like they're more impactful, I guess. I know it's very interesting because like I'm like, oh, who was on a couple seasons ago? I have no idea. But like I definitely actually remember the first few seasons quite well.
Oh, yeah. Same with Big Brother and Amazing Race.
Well, Big Brother as well for me, but Amazing Race, it's like, I don't know, I don't retain anything from an Amazing Race. So I'm glad I have you here as my soundboard of like remembering these Amazing Race teams. And if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well then welcome. Please subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We are officially 3/4 of the way there. We're at 750. Like 250 is nothing. So let's just get this done. Which is amazing. So we are at episode 11, but if we wanted to take a look maybe and see how the results for the quiz from last week.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of questions because we were doing legs 9 and 10.
Correct.
So which team are you rooting for in the small feud between Aleisha and Amanda and Chris and Aleisha? And it was, I like both teams got the most votes.
Okay.
That's good. So nobody's really rooting against anybody. How much did the Salvage pass help? It wasn't to that high of scores or the sabotage. I'm trying to remember what they were. I remember the Salvage was a driver.
And
the kangaroos.
The kangaroos, yeah.
That's right. How would you motivate your partner? We only got like one person, which was just, I would continue to yell at them until they did it. So I was like, okay.
I want them to be my team lead.
Good luck with that one.
Yes. Winning advice there.
How happy were you that Dolor and Holly did not get eliminated? We got that's a pretty high score, about 5 almost. That's out of 5. It's about 4.6. So a lot of people like Holly and Dolor. Did you like the addition of the bodybuilders? Most people said no. The hardest task we got, actually, this was pretty spread out. A lot of different people said things. We had the regatta run. We had the hole-in-one golf catch, and we had the people. Some people thought finding the opals in the cave would be the hardest thing to do. So, Dwes and Katherine, how sad were people? Most people said they actually were not sad to see Dwes and Katherine go, which is kind of surprising.
Well, it's probably because of the fight that they got in. People were probably kind of soured to them maybe a little bit. Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking maybe also because they had been eliminated already.
Sure.
Maybe that's it. And right now, which team are you rooting for to go all the way? This time, it seems to change every time we ask this question. But right now, the Super Sikhs have the most votes.
I mean, I see that though. They're very likable. Yeah. They're not just staying at the top. They're kind of moving around up and down. So I totally get why people are with them, because they're playing. It's a dominant game, but it's still realistic. You know what I mean? It's Definitely. Sometimes they really excel, sometimes they don't, but they never are super bad. So I think people can relate to them the most.
I agree. Yeah,
I like them,
and they get a lot of attention from the show. Like the show shows.
That's true. That's true. They do. They are very visible on the show, even if they're not in the front. So it's true. So, what were your old thoughts of episode 11 and 12? Did you enjoy these two legs?
I actually did. I thought that they were good legs. I liked some of the tasks. There was I think the first leg when they did it a little bit different, and they went to like Germantown, and then they went to oh my god, was it Swahili?
Swahili was the language they're speaking.
Yeah. To that church. I thought that was great because it sort of had more of an international feel, a little bit different, and it challenged them to do some things that you don't think of Australia for. So
100%. One thing though that I really noticed at the beginning of leg 11 was the preview for the episode kind of, I think, shows too much. I was like, I kind of know what's going to happen here. Do I even need to watch? Like, I mean, of course I'm going to watch it, but like, the detour, and you knew all that. You knew that there's going to be a team that's going to be struggling. I think you even knew who it was. Like, it's kind of like they don't really leave anything to the imagination or to the surprise of actually viewing. Why do you think they take that approach?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they really shouldn't do that because, I mean, it's a non-elimination leg anyway, so people sometimes feel gypped. So, you don't want to be like, oh, and I know who's not getting eliminated, and I know that they're last. Like, I mean, that's... I don't know. I'm still confused about this whole first class pass.
We're going to talk about it again.
I don't want to.
I mean, like, I'm enjoying this, but I kind of feel like we need to do 3 episodes each time because it just doesn't end. It doesn't.
I feel like they got like a ban of 5 more teams that's still going to enter. I don't know.
It's kind of like so you watch The Circle and like how like somebody gets eliminated and then like another person, 2 people come back in. You're just like, I already got rid of you, so many people. It kind of feels like that. It's like the clown car of like new teams ready to come on the race. It's like, wait, just end it and have another season. Have a season of all these like super athletes that you're bringing in. Like that would be cool,
I mean, the 2 teams that they brought in, they'd be great at the beginning of the race to watch.
Wouldn't that be something?
Something.
So you kind of started to say about the beginning of this leg, but so they're going to be going to Germany in the Adelaide Hills, and so it's kind of like a taste of Germany in Australia. So I was really surprised about that. I don't like when I think about Australia, I don't think of it to be as multicultural that it is. I think of, I don't know, maybe white people and then potentially the indigenous people. Those are the only 2 big groupings of people that I immediately think of when I think of the Amazing Race. Like obviously we've seen a lot of diversity within the people that are racing, but I don't think of Germantown in there, if that makes any sense. So it was really interesting to see that. And so there's 9 teams left here, and they're going to be going to Adelaide City of, what did I write here? Chuckles? What did I write there? I can't even read my own. City of Churches. Churches.
Oh, City of Churches. Yes.
Which I did not know about that. And so basically, MJ, we learned that she was born and bred in Adelaide. So this is going to be, they're going to have a hometown advantage here. And they already have a pretty big advantage of coming in halfway or a third of the way through the race, being super athletic, already being able to sit out a leg for getting the first class pass. Yeah. Like now they get to be racing in their hometown. Like it's just like
for a chance to sit out the next leg.
Don't even get me started. Well, we didn't know this at that time, so
no, that's true. That's true.
We're just like, I mean, I want everybody to do well. I don't want to be rooting poorly against them. I just don't feel like they're part of the race. Like I feel like they're going against the people that I want to do well in the race, if that makes sense. So, and I probably wouldn't feel that way as you stated, if they started at the very beginning with everybody else. I'd be like, oh man, they're doing well. Wicked. That's awesome. Lucky for them. So basically what they had to do, they're going to the Adelaide Opal, which is a big stadium. I think there's like 50,000 seats in there. Both MJ and Chelsea are able to find their picture on like the Hall of Fame wall in the corridors. Like they've played there and they've won some stuff there. So they're very familiar with the city for sure. And they're quite well loved, I'm sure, in the city. So they have to go find their picture on one of the seats in the stadium while the other person is super high up with a map and a megaphone, and they have to direct them to where to find at least one of the X marks the spots and hope that it's one of their photos. What do you think about this as a task?
Tough task. I mean, because there was a time limit on it too. I mean, that could get quite exhausting. Yeah, I mean, I would struggle.
Which
steps,
side?
Like nonstop steps, like that's tiring.
Am I doing the running around, or are you doing the running around?
I don't know. I think that maybe it might be better if you do the running around. We'll see.
I mean, probably, but like, oh God, that sucks. Like that. I mean, we'd have to figure out a way to figure something. Like, how can we figure out how to game it so we didn't have to run around that much? Like maybe find the first X that's like closest to the bottom of the stadium, and then at least have that be a marker. Like you need to find one quite quickly, I think is the task, and maybe one where you don't have to run up and down stairs a lot to find first, I guess would be my MO.
Yeah, I think you got to try and get. You got to hope, because it's needle in the haystack in this case, and it did seem like they were all over the place. So, I mean, you might as well start at the things that are closer to where you start from. So,
I wrote down, this is not fun at all.
No,
not fun. I mean, it's definitely a good task, but I would be like, ugh, this is the worst if I was doing it. Like, brutal. So wait, what did I say? Would you be? Oh, I was asking you that question. So Kristen and Aleisha are already lost. Like, I don't know if I care to hear any more about them getting lost and her kind of freaking out a little bit. Like, I wish that the confidence that they gained from they arrived first on this one, correct? Yes. Like, I wish that confidence really gave something in them to know that, like, they can make decisions. Like, they don't have to fall apart when something seems to be going wrong. It's just like she just has a meltdoam, and I don't know. I don't find it fun to watch. Like, how are you feeling about it? I know you're one pick.
I mean, I'm cheering for them, but I mean, I am also getting a little irritated. Like, I find. It's kind of like you feel it a little bit when she gets upset, because like she physically makes herself upset. Like she makes noises, and you're like, ooh, like she's really internalizing this, and you want to sort of go, like, calm down. Like,
that never works. So relax. Don't say that. But they were trying to follow MJ and Chelsea, and so they started having a meltdown because of the fact that they lost them at the light. And so, I mean, okay, if I was following somebody, I would still try to get an idea of where I was going. Like, I'd be like, okay, this is where we are on the map. Okay, we're following them. You say following them. I'm going to say continuing with the map. Like, you don't just follow somebody without trying to keep your bearings as to where you are. Anything could happen. They could be going the wrong way. Like, you never know. So I thought that
if they're following, then the driver's following. The navigator should still be looking to go, okay, well, how are they getting there? Well, like, what do we do? How are we?
Where are we on the map? Okay, let me see this. Yeah. Okay, that's a landmark. Okay, this is where we are. And like, you have to keep following along, especially if you're not good at directions. How you don't get better at directions is never knowing where you are. I always fight with my mom about this because I'm like, Mom, you've lived in Canada, in Toronto for 50 years. Like, how do you not know how to get to my house? You've driven to my place. Like, you really have driven to my place hundreds of times. Like, she's like, I don't know, like I usually use GPS, or like you're usually there and you direct me. And I'm like, but even when I'm directing you, don't you learn where you're going? And she's like, no, I don't pay attention. I'm like, but like, I don't know, maybe it's a task that like for me is that like, if I'm going somewhere that if I've never been there before, I take notice and I pay attention. Like, okay, that was their gas station. Okay, I turned right at the gas station. Like, I still kind of log everywhere. And so I usually don't get lost, or I can get my bearings back because I paid attention to the landmarks as we were driving. So, I mean, maybe it's just a me personality thing on like directions and stuff like that. But I'm just like, when people get super lost like that, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Knowing that you need to know where you're going. Like, if I'm in the backseat of the car and I'm just like not paying attention, okay, fine. But like you're on a race where you need to know where you're going, I would be definitely paying attention. Even if it's to like, you don't know where you're going to be going after you finish this particular task. So maybe like, remember the super seats, it didn't serve them well, but they're like, oh, I saw that sign when we were driving this way. I know where that is. It could be useful for you to be paying attention to where you are. And I would be drawing a line on that damn map. Like I would know where everything is. I'd be circling landmarks. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you go by signs and it's got like, turn right here to go to Gator Farm or whatever, you know, like, oh, Gator Farm's around here. Phil, avoid Gator Farm.
Yeah, you get lost at the Gator Farm. Only you would that would happen to. One thing though that was cute. So Skye-Blue and Jake and also Dolor and Holly they find the stadium. They didn't seem to have any problems that they showed anyways. And Skye-Blue was actually teasing Dolor to see whether or not he was going to be the one that was going up high to look at the clues. And it seems as though in the beginning, nobody seemed to like Dolor and Holly, but it does seem like they're developing a little bit of rapport with some people. Like they are kind of joking around. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, I think it's funny. Like I feel like that in a way, like Dolor and Holly are being sort of I'm trying to think. Like they're sort of making themselves appear a little less threatening. Like in a way, like I think they're trying to do that so that people will be like drop their guard a little bit with them, and they're not being so intense about the race. And maybe they're not as intense as when they first started. Maybe they're like, okay, well, let's just see what happens now. But they seem to have really, like, the other teams seem to be less focused on, oh, that team, that they're not very nice, and now they've let them in, and so it'll be like, ooh, what happens when a U-turn comes? Because Dolor owes people. Dolor owes people for a U-turn.
But nobody's there still that like he owes, because that was Jessica and Sefa that he didn't that were mad with him. And who was the other team?
The older team, yeah, the
couple,
Gary or Tina, Deb. Something, Gary and Deb or something like that. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I don't know if that was it, but Shane and Deb.
Shane and Deb. There we go.
You're close, actually. So Amanda finds Jordan and Violetta's picture, but doesn't say anything. So would you have taken that if you were doing the running? Would you have told people about their pictures if you saw them, or would you keep it to yourself?
I probably would have kept it to myself, unless there was a team that I was working with that. But like, I don't see the benefit of necessarily telling anybody that you found them, because then they'll be gone and they can't help you unless they've seen it, right? And if they've seen it and they haven't told you, then why would you tell them? Like, I don't know, like that happens. We'll talk about it when it gets there. And
we can get there right now, basically, because
that made no sense to me that they told the MJ and Chelsea that it's there, and then didn't have any reaction when was it MJ said, "Oh yeah, yours is over there." Like,
It's like, oh, you knew
Why
where
didn't you
ours
tell me?
was beforehand. So basically, I think that they want to get their picture first, and then they'll offer up the other information to help out Stan and Wayne. So I thought that was a little bit sly. I mean, it's within the rules of the game. I would have clocked it for sure if I was Stan, being like, oh, wait, like, so I told her, but then she told me after she found theirs. That's when she says mine, so she could make sure that she was in front of us. I was like, ooh,
shady.
That's a little bit of shady boots here, a little bit of shady boots. Especially since he says, I'd rather be a good human than a rich one. And then he's like, actually, I'd rather be both. But like, you're on the game to win money, so this isn't a good human sport or good test of good humanness, you know?
No.
I don't know.
But they do need allies. They do need allies because they're new. And so do MG and Chelsea.
That's
so
true.
Maybe there's something between the two of those teams that are like bonding because they're the teams that got added in or something. I don't know. But it was shady, in my opinion. Like I would have said right away, wait a minute, you didn't tell us and I just told you?
Yeah, I would have clocked it. Like maybe he wouldn't have said anything to them, but to the camera be like, interesting. Okay. Noted. That like they will take information and they will offer it up as long as it doesn't disadvantage them or put them at an even playing field. That's what I would learn out of that. So the next detour is going to be slap or snag. So for slap, they have to put on some lederhosen and learn a little couples dance with a lot of and then for snag, they have to eat a huge plate of they call it a Wurst platter. So lots of sausages and sauerkraut. Which one do you think you would want to choose? Oh, okay, we know. Sorry, you do snag.
I do.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, I've been there. I've been to Germany. I've done the big plates of sausage. I love it. I think it's great. So I would do it. But you know, I don't think actually I would struggle that much with the dance. I'm good at those dances where you need to do choreography, learn the steps and that kind of thing. So I can usually pick that up pretty fast.
Good to remember. Okay.
That's right. Dancing, I'm okay with. I have the gay gene for dancing, so I'm okay with that.
Is it only to anthems, or like it's to like the accordion is still in your?
The accordion. Well, you know, I always dance only the accordion. I'm into polka bad.
I told you about my accordion story. Have I told you it? No. Why you don't laugh? Come on, Phil. Okay, so before I was going to start going to this art school, so you audition when you're 8, you go from when you're 9, and I wanted to learn the piano, and my mom was considering to buy me a piano so I could start taking lessons to when I start going to this school. And so she didn't want to go and spend money buying me like some piano when like I was just not going to like it, you know, or maybe like I wouldn't be good, or like I wouldn't want to continue taking lessons. So before she bought the piano, she's like, well, let's see if you like the accordion first. So you can learn like the keyboard part to see if you like it enough for me to go and buy you a piano. So at 8 years old, or maybe it was 8 or 9, I was taking accordion lessons, and I would lug around this like 80-pound accordion, but like I know how to play like.
Oh, I wish I could have learned that. Like I learned a bunch of instruments. But accordion, I would love. Like, that would be, oh, your mother. That's so cute.
So my first instrument literally was the accordion. I mean, I could probably still play that now, which is hilarious.
We got to get you one. That would be awesome.
I mean, I wouldn't mind relearning. I've been considering learning guitar. I have a guitar that I bought years ago that I still haven't learned how to play. So I want to learn the guitar, and I should go back to learn piano. Like I used to take piano lessons and do like, you know, all my tests and stuff like that. So I did end up getting the piano in the end. So the accordion went to the side and I learned how to play piano. But I don't remember how to do anything anymore. So I should maybe pick up the accordion and or the keyboard and get my fingers tinkling again.
Nice.
So that's my accordion story. My
Love
first
it.
instrument. Okay, so most people did snag, actually. So for slap, the dance one was Amanda and Ashley. They ended up doing it. Jordan and Violetta and Dolor and Holly. And then for snag was MJ Chelsea, Stan and Wayne, the Cowboys, Skye-Blue and Jake, and the Super Seeks. I didn't really think that this looked like that much food, to be honest. Like, am I just a pig? Or like, I was like, it doesn't look like that a lot. Like,
No,
I don't know, eat 3 sausages.
I thought, yeah, I could eat that. That's not that bad. I actually think the Weetabix would have been tougher.
Sure. Well, and there was no that I could see. Okay, they had like maybe 2 pretzels. So 2 pretzels, like there was like maybe there's more. Maybe there's 4 pretzels. Okay, we'll say 4 pretzels and like 8 sausages, a bunch of sauerkraut, and I'm sure there's like mustard. Like I feel like
gravy and mustard. They had gravy and mustard. Like, come on. Like,
that's not hard at all. Just like I mean, I was just surprised that, especially the Cowboys seem to be having the most amount of trouble with this task. But yeah, I just didn't think it was that bad. I thought the fish one that Skye-Blue and Jake did before a couple of tasks legs ago was harder than this one, because it didn't even look good like that fish. It kind of looked kind of slimy, which the consistency might have put me off. But this, I'd be like, just pretend you're at like a game or something, and you're just like eating at the buffet table. Like you're gonna have more than just like a little piece of a sausage and like half a pretzel. No, you're gonna eat a lot.
Yeah.
So and
it's gonna be good.
It's
too.
good.
Like I mean,
give me that grainy mustard. I love grainy mustard. So I was kind of like, that's a bit weak sauce, guys. Weak. So Jordan and Violetta, we were going to assume that they're going to do really well, and they did. They didn't seem to have much trouble. They made it look like Jordan was having a bit of trouble with the slaps, but like, that was probably the only clip of that. Now, I do wonder, though, why when they're showing the teams that were getting the dance, like when they actually completed it, they didn't show the slaps part, which is the hard part of the dance. They just showed them kind of like da-da-da-da-da-da.
And the ending, though.
Like the hard part is like, I want to see them do that. That's it's called slaps.
Well, they did show Dolor do it, and he did it so fast, and I was like, "Is that right?" And then they give him the clue, and so I was like, "I don't know if that was right."
I was worried for them though, because when they're like, I think when Holly said, she's like, "Oh yeah, Dolor is such a good dancer. Like we're gonna do so well at this task. When we're out at the club, people are always taking videos of him dancing because he's so good." I was like, he's not gonna be good. But then he was okay. They got him pretty quickly.
Oh, he was
on their first try, which was like, that's always impressive to get those dance ones on the first try. So the next roadblock is going to be who is most graceful. So I know that I would be doing this one between me and you. Is that a fair assessment?
All right. Yeah, I'll let you be the most graceful. How graceful of me.
It's just such thank you, Phil. So they're going to be performing the Amazing Race with Amazing Grace Gospel Choir, and it's going to be a song in Swahili. So what happened here? Christian and Aleisha got a time penalty. Oh, yes. They were so while we're talking about these 2 tasks over here, they were still at the stadium looking for their picture, and the task was done at this point, and they had to take a time penalty. Now, question. Do you think that that's fair that they get a time penalty what if they were about to find the task in 2 minutes? You know what I mean? Or find the picture. Like, I would think that if the task closes, that's the penalty enough, is that they timed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess though the thing would be like if somebody found it at 1 minute 59 or 1 hour 59 minutes, and then the time thing ends at 2. Would that be fair to just let them go? Like, or should they get a thing? I don't know. I mean, it's 20 minutes. So, I mean, again, like these time penalties are very odd. Like they don't seem to be very.
Well, they don't want to eliminate anybody from the game. You know
that's true. That's true. It doesn't really matter
at all. And I'm sorry, Aleisha. I'm sure you're a very lovely human being, and Chris is very, very patient. But when after the task, she gets in the car, and all you can hear about her is this whining about it. And she's like, "Can we talk about it? Like, I'm still really upset here." And he's just like, "I just want to get to the next part of the task. Like, I don't want to be whining about it and crying about it." Like, I think that she needs to learn how to shake it off a little bit better. Yeah, it was uncomfortable to watch her kind of continuously melt down over things that are easy to bounce back from. You know, it's like, I get it, you're last place. I get it, you guys got lost. I get it, like, you guys are very thin and you can't eat a lot. Like, I get it, but like, I just don't want it to make you fall apart. Like, that's not fun to watch.
And he's been really good in the sense that, like, I mean, he sort of does the opposite of what she does. He sort of tries to turn it around, and the fact that he's getting close to snapping is not good for their team, right? Because if they both go down that road, then it's not good, because they'll fall apart. So
he definitely has the grace here in this relationship, because like I would never be with somebody that did that, but like, she's just would be a handful, and I wouldn't want to have to be such a cheerleader all the time. I love rooting people on, especially in partnership, friendship, whatever. But like, having somebody that falls apart like that, it's disconcerting and like concerning. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have that role all the time, because it would feel as though they would fall apart without me, and like that kind of handcuff to a person's like emotional stability. That's in my opinion, it's a little bit unhealthy, but hopefully they'll work on this, or she'll work on it. But it wasn't fun to watch, seeing someone unravel to that extent. It's kind of like, did you watch the Big Brother when Bailey got into that huge fight with Tyler, and she like bit her lip and she was screaming? Like, I couldn't watch that, because it made me feel uncomfortable, that something was like, that was damaging to her, that she needed to learn how to control her emotions in a way that wasn't like so uncomfortable to watch. And that's a similar feeling here, is that she needs to work on something, you know?
Yeah, I found that we're not talking about Big Brother, but I remembered that Bailey one, and I felt kind of like there's a lot of other factors why that felt wrong. Like, I still question why they showed that, because there were other people that were having meltdowns and they didn't show it, and it was like, I don't know. Like, it felt kind of awkward that they would do that to somebody. I mean, I wish Alicia would take, because we've seen her do really well in some challenges where she's like the person that does the best out of everybody, and it's like, internalize that, so then when you're having a tough time, the action isn't like drop down and like drop. It's like, maybe I can do this, or maybe it's going to take me a little bit longer, or it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Whew. So the Cowboys, so they're doing the whatever, they're eating the sausages, and they just could not get them down. And it's like, I know it's a little bit stereotypical to say, but I would assume that most big strapping guys, men, like 20-something, 30s, whatever, can eat a plate of friggin' sausages. Like, I would just expect the guys just to be able to eat everything. Eat it! Like, shut up! Eat it!
They continue to be like the team that, like, the task where you're like, oh, this is going to be so easy for them. And then the task where you're like, oh, they're going to struggle with it. They're great.
Great. And so they decide to actually switch detours, which I thought, I was like, man, you kind of wasted a lot of time here if you're going to make that decision. Like, that should have been like, oh, I see the food, can't do it, switch immediately. Like, don't give that a try and then switch, I don't think. Or maybe they have to give it maybe a few minutes and then they can switch. But I thought that they wasted a lot of time before they decided to go over to the other side, because I believe when they switched, were they the first ones? Was Chris and Aleisha there yet, or no?
They switched before Chris and Aleisha showed up.
And so one thing, though, that was smart, though, that Aleisha decided to take the slaps role and Chris did the women's part, which I thought was a good idea. Very smart, because she knew that she's a little bit more coordinated and that she's able to probably pick up those steps quicker. So there, like, take that. You have made a really good decision. You knew what you were good at. You were able to execute this challenge really well. I think they got it on their first try. Like, you're good, Aleisha. You're good. Like, just keep it. Just do it. So MJ and do they switch too? I don't know how they gave that to MJ. What did I say? I wrote down, I don't know how they gave that to MJ. What was I talking about?
Oh,
never mind. It's probably at the choir. Okay.
Right.
So everybody at some point they finished these tasks. They weren't there that long, it seemed. And they had to go over and learn this song in Swahili. It seems like it's just one phrase that they had to learn how to say and sound sort of like what it should sound like. It didn't seem like they're being very, very particular. And that's probably what I'm writing down. Is I don't know how they gave it to MJ, because I think she got it on her second try. So I think she was there first and then got it, tried it, didn't do well. And then on her second try, I think they did it. Am I correct?
Yeah. That's right.
But it was like, it wasn't in rhythm. It didn't even sound like the song. But she basically said phonetically all the words so that they could kind of understand it. And they gave her the clue. What do you think the judging on this? How do you think that was?
I would have been okay with that until it got to the point. Actually, I think it was it the Cowboys where they were told off for going too fast. And then I was like, well, so does it matter? Like, if you're getting the word, like, what's the thing that's we're getting judged on? Is it the words being right? Is it being in tempo with the song? Because it doesn't seem like it's like the full package.
I mean, which I think it should be. Like, maybe not in tune, but at least in rhythm and words. I was laughing though so hard because the choir is like they're just trying to they weren't even hiding that that the people weren't good. They're just like. I was just laughing at them, they're just being positive and they just did not sound good at all. I don't know any songs in Swahili, but in that school that I was talking about, we did learn some songs in Zulu. So I actually know a few Zulu songs. So hopefully those would come handy if we're ever on the race. One is Siahamba and one is Gabi Gabi and...
Wow.
Anyways, I know a few Zulu songs, so just saying.
Very good. Very good.
Close. So basically, though, after this task, they're going straight to the pit stop, which is at the Holy Trinity Church. I was really happy with Holly, though, at the church, at the gospel choir, because she got on her first try. She's good. She's actually really good. And when Holly and Dolor were leaving, they high-fived Aleisha, who was out there waiting for Chris, who kept on trying and failing, trying.
And told them not to give up.
Yeah. So there was maybe it's because they knew that they weren't in last, Holly and Dolor, but the high five, it just seemed again, people are starting to have a liking towards them more than before, more than 6 months ago when this race started. Okay, so everybody gets it. Aleisha, though, convinces Chris that when they see the clue, who's the most graceful, that it should not be her, that to go against what their natural thought was for her to do it, and to be like, oh, they usually try to stuff us up here. You do it, Chris. And so that's why Chris is now doing the singing part of this task. What do you think about that miscalculation on her part?
It's tough because sometimes on the race they do trick you. I mean, let's be honest, that does happen, and so but I'm kind of the type of person that feels like you should really look at the question and answer it. If you can think of what it might be outside of the box, go for it. But in some ways you should really answer the question as best as you can, because it's like who is this person? And you're like, yeah, that's more me. I'm more into those kinds of things. And if it is that, then oh well, we got screwed. But let's answer the question as it is. Fingers crossed they're not. It's tough though, because sometimes they do, and then you're like, oh, like this would have been so much better for Chantele to know.
but I guess for like kind of like what you're saying is, if it was Grace, I'd be like, okay, what could they be doing that could be Grace? Could it be like G race? Okay, if it's our G race, maybe you'd be running or something. Like, I don't know what
Right.
But in the actual clue, I think that they write it like in the way to make you think of the other ways, like the homonym. Is that right? Homophone.
Right.
Homonym.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, like if it was something to do with race, it would be gracious, but the race would be like in capital letters or something. Like it would be something that you would see and go, okay, like they're alluding to it being something else.
Right.
Like,
exactly. Or the word it's differently spelled to imply the other meaning of the word. So I felt like here was one of those times where I would just go with who is graceful, you know?
Yeah.
And I would assume that it would be. I would have probably assumed it would be dance, but they just did a dance one. So I would think about like maybe it's learning how to say grace. You know what I mean? Like that would be something that I might consider that it would be. They did just do a food task. Like maybe there's going to be some. So I would be thinking probably, I mean, I'm just saying this as I'm sitting on my couch watching the show, but I think that I would have been like, I'm the most graceful one here, even if the race sometimes screws us over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's, then you just go, oh, well, we got screwed, and you move on and you figure it out.
Exactly. So I felt bad that she did that, because now she's just going to beat herself up about it. And Chris definitely wasn't very good at learning this. That's another thing too, is that he would go and he would just like fuck up the first word. And if he had just continued, they might have let him have it. Like he canceled before they did.
They canceled. Yeah. Definitely.
And that's something that you have to learn. Like, this is an artist thing, but it's like sometimes people don't know that you made a mistake until you tell them. So he kind of already decided when he did well or when he didn't do well, and he needed to have practice going right through, especially with the nerves and the energy and having the people around him looking like he should have gone through the whole thing. Even though he thought that he messed up, because that's the only way that he's going to actually get better at doing the whole thing in front of people.
For sure. Like, even if they said no, like, at least you've done it, and like you're like got through it, and then you could go back to the teacher who is with you while you perform and go, what parts did I screw up on, and what did I do well? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it didn't really matter, though, because they all get to the mat. So MJ and Chelsea, no surprise. It's their home city. They're first. Second is Jordan and Violetta, which was very surprising to me. Third, Ashley and Amanda. Fourth, Holly and Dolor. Another surprise there. Fifth, Super Seeks. Sixth, Skye-Blue and Jake. Seventh was originally Chris and Aleisha. So I don't know how they managed to super speed fast in front of Stan and Wayne and the Cowboys, but they were able to get there in seventh place. But they did incur the 20-minute time penalty. So they're going to be waiting beside MJ and Chelsea, who are going to be getting a first-class pass again, and they're going to have to give out the salvage and the sabotage to the bottom two teams. So what do you think about this team getting that for a second time?
Well, about them getting the ability to do it?
Yeah, the first-class pass again.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, they've had a lot of advantages, and it's a whatever. It's the race. But it would be, to me, I would have my list, and I would be like, who am I U-turning, and do I have a reason to? And I know who's at the top. If I can get in front of them, I'm putting them on the U-turn board for sure.
Actually, that's probably what the OGs should be doing. Be like, hey, let's U-turn, and no matter what, if we're ahead of MJ and Chelsea, if there's a U-turn board, like we have to do it. We have to. because they would though. I think MJ and Chelsea would use the U-turn. Like they're so
they're competitive. They're doing it right. Yeah.
So I think that they are the most competitive team within that. They don't feel that badly about doing things within in the race, you know, like we saw them not want to give up that picture to Stan and Wayne unless they knew that they were ahead of them. And we're going to learn here. So the 20 minutes doesn't wait out. Stan and Wayne come in, so they end up being 7th place. Finally, they get to check in. The Cowboys come after them, and MJ and Chelsea decide to give the sabotage to Chris and Aleisha and the salvage to the Cowboys. So this is another part where Chris and Aleisha thought that they were good friends with MJ and Chelsea, but they're gamers. So they felt as though Chris and Aleisha are bigger competition. What do you think about that decision? Because they were very distraught over it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the second time that I believe that the sabotage, that when they got this ability, that they gave the sabotage to the team that didn't come in last. So, like, they're the only team that's done that. All the other teams have been like, well, let's do the fair thing. You guys came in last. You guys get the sabotage. And MJ and Chelsea aren't playing that way. They're playing who can beat us. And so far, Chris and Aleisha have been the ones that have been able to beat them. I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting choice. I would still be fearful of the Cowboys doing well. I still feel like they've got at least one leg where they're going to really dominate them.
I do have to say that from MJ and Chelsea's perspective, they haven't seen the Cowboys do well. I don't think. No. So they've been at the back of the pack or just like in the middle. You know, they weren't coming in first like they had been before they showed up on the race. So they don't have the full scope as to what is going on, which I think is also a little bit unfair. They don't have all the information, so they're not even making an educated decision there. No. So yeah, I would be annoyed if I was Chris and Aleisha, but then I'd also be like, well, don't come in and last then. This is also you're luck in the game, you know? You are lucky enough to be able to stay here. Like, you know, this.
We don't know what their relationship is with the Cowboys either. So, I mean, because we don't see it. So, if they don't have a good relationship with the Cowboys, then I do question it, because at least Aleisha and Chris thought that they did have a good relationship. So, if you don't have all the information, why would you piss off a team that you think might work with you over a team that might not? But
they just want to win.
I don't know.
They just want to win.
Yeah.
They don't care about. They don't want to have any alliances or whatnot. I think they just want to win. They're not.
And they're sports. They are sports people. They have that make the right decision to win. Right, like that's how that they're wired. So.
Sorry, it's not a humanitarian sport here. It's we want to win, and you guys seem stronger.
That target on MJ and Chelsea.
Yeah, I know. I love it. At least they're getting a target on them, because I really want them to be U-turned. Like, I want everybody to just like battle against them now. Like, all come together. Like, just take them down. That's what I want. So, episode 12, we have obviously Jordan and Violetta leaving first because Chelsea and MJ are going to be having their spa day or whatnot, their second spa day in 4 legs. Like, what the heck? Like, actually. So the salvage is going to be an electronic map for the entire leg. And then the sabotage, which I think is brutal, is that they're unable to ask for directions. And we know that Chris and Aleisha, like, they need directions. They ask for directions often. They have meltdowns over asking for directions and who to ask for directions and pulling over and ask for directions. Like, they need this. And so I thought that actually it was the most challenging sabotage we've had yet. Do you agree?
I think because, I mean, compared to caring to stuffed animals, this is a real sabotage. Like, this is something that like does affect, can really affect it. And I wasn't like, you can't ask for directions. So, I mean, they aren't very great with maps, so reading them themselves. So this is tough.
Very tough. I mean, that's the worst one for if it's either them or Jordan and Violetta getting that one would be like like the two worst teams to get that. They're definitely I'm always worried about them when they have to pull out the map. So they had to go to Port Lincoln in South Australia. And this is an area that produces the highest amount of seafood. So they had to take a plane there. So everybody got equalized, which is also really annoying. Like, what is the point of coming in first sometimes or last when you get equalized in this fashion where you're going to all be leaving off the same plane at basically the same time? It's just kind of like, it's a little bit annoying to me at the pit stop. Like they should be leaving at staggered times, then maybe getting off the plane, like, okay, 15-minute intervals or whatever the time difference in between. Like maybe they should have taken that into account because it's just too annoying that you get equalized by a plane that you have to take, you know?
Yeah. It's one of those race things. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I put Chris and Aleisha. She's already, I probably put crying. I don't know what I wrote. She's already,
yeah, she was upset right then at the beginning because she was like, "Oh, we're not going to do well." And I think he was like, "We
complaining." Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, she was in trouble. So
they're going to the fisherman something, and they have to do either toss or roll. So for toss, what they had to do was they had to get a tuna and they had to toss it 3 separate times. I don't know if one person could do all 3 tosses, but they had to land the large tuna in one of these 4 circles, 3 different circles. So there's a close one, there's a little bit further away, and then there's 2 further away, I believe is how it was set up. And the tuna was quite heavy, but this didn't seem like a very challenging task, and it seemed like it had a really good learning curve. What did you think about the toss task?
Yeah, it looked like when you looked at compared the two, it looked like it was the easier task to do. The way that they sold that it was difficult was that it would be really heavy, but it seemed like everybody was able to pick it up, and there didn't really seem to be too many complaints about it being too heavy. So
yeah, I thought it was like I just get the momentum. Like, I don't know, figure it out. I feel like it's something you could figure out. And then the other one for roll, so they had to play 10 games of bocce ball. Every time you lost against, I guess, locals were playing with them, they'd have to have a little humiliation scarf that they would put on every time they lost a game. So bocce ball is also pretty easy to, like, master quickly because the balls are quite heavy. So you can quite quickly learn how to roll that ball and I think you can get good at that one quite quickly. And I would have thought that would have been the easier of the 2 tasks personally, just because you just have more control over the ball. And the fish, I could see you not having control over the fish because you have to spin around 3 times before you released it. So I was surprised that the majority of people chose toss over roll.
But I mean, if I had opened it, I probably would have got sentimental and said, "Oh, like I play bocce. Let's go play bocce. I like bocce. Like, you know, so let's go play bocce." But I mean, they didn't. Neither task seemed like it was hard, but I do think that the bocce did seem like it did take a long time for people to do. Like, I think they said they were there for at least an hour.
An hour,
because it was 10 games. So
I'm not sure why they were just so bad. They just were. I don't think they weren't good. Like, I think that's just what it was. Like, we could see Holly and Dolor kind of yelling at Holly a little bit of like, it was too hard, it was too fat. Like, so I think that they didn't get the hang of the role. And I don't know. I don't think it's that hard, but I played pétanque and I've played bocce before, so maybe that's why it just doesn't seem that intimidating to figure out how to get your ball closest to the small ball. Like, I don't know. It just seems like it could have been easier, but it wasn't. So the people doing toss was the Super Seeks, Amanda and Ashley, Stan and Wayne, Skye-Blue and Jake, and the Cowboys. And then for roll, it was just Dolor and Holly and Chris and Aleisha. But Amanda and Ashley really just couldn't get a handle on throwing that damn fish. And so they tried it a few times. They couldn't figure it out. And so they switched detours when went over to bocce. What do you think of this decision?
Yeah, well, and again, like because I said earlier, like I didn't hear them complain that the problem was that the fish was too heavy to throw. Like, and it didn't actually seem like it was. Like, it did seem like they had a couple good throws. They were just not getting it into the ring. Like, that was the issue there. So, I mean, I feel like they left kind of early because they left before other teams had shown up. Like, I mean, Skye-Blue and Jake, I think, were the last team that they saw before that. But I don't know. I kind of feel like they could have stayed a little longer and tried.
I mean, I guess like we are. Well, me anyways. It's like you should have left right away. You stayed too long. I guess no matter what they do, you'd be annoyed with them. I think I do though agree that they could have figured it out more quickly than they figured out bocce. Because you don't need to be that good at the fish throwing thing to get it in the circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they had done 2 of the 3. Like, they just needed that last ring. So,
and they just need to figure out how to pick up that momentum. Like, didn't they have to do shot put in like high school, like or middle school? Like, what was it for the Terry Fox run where you had to do the 3 different like or multiple events?
Oh yeah.
Like I learned how to throw a shot put or whatever. I did though. Anyways, I hope that I would figure it out. I'm talking as if like I'd be amazing at all these things and watch me suck. But like I feel like I would have figured out the momentum of throwing that fish. And I wouldn't have left. I don't think I would have left.
Yeah.
At all.
This was the first time we saw them struggle.
That's true. It was. And
really? Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's because I'm not trying to be sexist here, but they're the only all-female team. No, never mind. MJ and Chelsea did that.
But they weren't there for this leg.
Oh, right.
So
right.
Yeah.
I roll. All right. Well, anyways, they have to go after. There's going to be an intersection that's coming up in this particular leg. We're at Port Lincoln Marina. They're going to have to. Okay, I didn't really understand what they had to do here. So there's going to be 2 boats. There's going to be 2 intersections. So 2 teams had to pair up. So they're going to be in a quadrant or a foursome. They had to go out to like a buoy raft thing in the water. They had to figure out some knots, tie something, go down 4 meters underwater, tie something, and that's it.
Yeah, it was like they were doing, like they were setting up a buoy in the water, right? Like a buoy in the water. But I don't know. Like it was confusing. Yeah, because there was like the chain and then the rope had to be tied a certain way. And I didn't understand, like, okay, so are they a team of 4 or are they 2 separate teams? Like, could one of the teams on one side and another team on the other side got on that first boat or
no
after? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
like, how did it all happen?
I think that you could only leave when you had your team that you were working with. So it was most advantageous for you to choose whichever team came next so you could potentially leave on one of the 2 boats. So it's like it's still equalized there too. It's kind of like, I don't know, why can't you just go when your other teammate got there? Like, why was there 2 boats? Couldn't they have figured that out so that there was more stations to do it at or
could
something?
There have been 4 boats. Yeah, like it just felt weird. Why are we it wasn't really why are we bothering calling it an intersection between 2 teams when it was actually an intersection between 4? Like, why not just say 4 teams have to be a team and go out? Like, why bother with the intersection at all?
Well, it's because they had to work with another duo.
Other team, yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. I couldn't really follow who was in the water, what they were doing, what they had to do, whether or not they did it correctly or incorrectly. It was just confusing to me. So I just was like, okay, all I saw was there's a 7:30 boat and a 7:45 boat. And the Super Seeks, I guess, got there quickly. They waited for the Cowboys, so they're going to be working together. Right now, at the back of the pack at Bocce Ball was Amanda and Ashley, Chris and Aleisha, Dolor and Holly. They weren't able to really get it. Next intersection quadrant was Skye-Blue and Jake, who are going to be working with Jordan and Violetta. And I didn't write down any of the other pairs, really. But Ashley and Amanda and Holly and Dolor, or Chris and Aleisha got it at some point. Ashley and Amanda, Holly and Dolor, they figured it out at the same time. They got their 10th game point, and they're off there. So Amanda and Ashley are kind of upset because they didn't really want to be doing the intersection with Dolor and Holly, but it seems as though that's what's going to happen because they were in the back of the pack. So I thought it was really funny, though, that they got stuck with Dolor and Holly.
It was funny because later on when they were commenting, it was kind of like they were actually, oh, well, we did good with them. And it kind of turned it around. Like, I was like, oh, see, like, be open-minded with the other team. Sometimes
I know. I know. I think they're trying to be generous with them at the beginning and be like, okay, well, we're working with them. They've kind of not done too well in swimming tasks so far, but Dolor's special. I think that they like them, but know that they're not the best competitors, especially in the water tasks. So this actual task is in the morning, though. So when it was saying the boats at 7:30 and 7:45, that was what was confusing, was because I thought that they were waiting right then and there for the boat to go at 7:30, 7:45. But no, it's actually the next morning. There's going to be two boats that are leaving. And so there's going to be the front four teams, two intersection teams, and then the back four teams, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And so I was really surprised, though, because Ashley and Amanda were trying to teach Dolor how to do these knots, and he's not seeming to understand it. But I didn't even know what they were doing. Like, what are these knots they were doing? And they're all practicing, which I thought was really good. So both boats were practicing what they're going to do when they get in the water. They're choreographing everything. So I thought that was a really good use of their time going out there to really not panic in the water. When they get out there, though, there's a lot of sea lions. Was it? Yes. Have you seen a sea lion before? I've never seen one. I
have in California. They have them out in the water in California.
Maybe I have then. I don't know. Maybe I have seen a sea lion then. I didn't know they were in California. My dad used to live in California, so I feel like I would see them then if I used to go there.
I think they were sea lions, or maybe they were I think they were sea lions because they were quite big. So
where at Long Beach, Venice Beach, where?
Yeah, it was at it was at is it Venice Beach, the one with the carousel and the theme park? Santa Monica.
Oh, I've never been to Santa Monica. Okay.
Yeah.
The pier, would that be okay? That makes sense then. I've never been to that part of California. Okay, fine. I kind of wanted to see them, though. They do look really cute, but apparently they are being advised to be don't be distracted by the cuteness of these sea lions or the puppies of the ocean, which I never knew.
Yes.
They're so cute.
Yeah, they're cute. I don't know. I wouldn't want to get too close to them myself, but you know how I am.
Are you scared of the sea lions? Do they bite? They don't look like they're biting people.
They do bite.
Oh, they don't look aggressive, though. You're maybe if you're
I don't want to test it.
Oh, poor thing. So Dolor, though, has his little confessional saying that he wants to do the bare minimum, but he's happy that he's with the Gold Coast girls who are actually quite good at a lot of things. And so I thought that it was really good, a really good step up for Dolor and Holly, because Holly is good at swimming stuff. Both those Gold Coast girls are good at swimming stuff, and I don't know who said that they grew up in the water, but I think it was Amanda, but she's very comfortable in the water. So I thought that they really lucked out, even being last, but who they were last with. Imagine they were last with Chris and Aleisha or something, that would have just been a mess. So, or the Cowboys even, that would have been a mess if they were last with them. I thought they really lucked out there. So Skye-Blue and Jake and the Super Seek give it their first try, and they ended up looping it onto the wrong thing. So they failed their first time doing the task. And this allowed the second boat, the 745 boat, to catch up. Ashley and Amanda, they seemed to go down, do the thing. Everybody did their role properly. And they finish friggin' first before the first boat. So right now, Ashley and Amanda is in first, and Dolor and Holly are in second freaking place. Like, what a turn of events. Were you happy? I was happy.
Great. Oh, yeah, it's great.
And even though Dolor said he was attacked by sea lions who are actually just tickling his feet. He's such a little princess. It's a Lord. So Chris and Aleisha and Stan and Wayne, who were working together, also on the second boat, were able to finish quickly enough for that they were able to leave on the first boat out, which was definitely a change of pace. Really unexpected for both those 4 teams that were in the back to be in the front teams now. So they got a route info, and they had to go to the Sand Dune Lincoln National Park. And this task, so they had to have one teammate blindfolded and walking backward in rain boots, or gum boots, as Amanda likes to call them. Yeah. And the other would have a walkie-talkie. The blindfolded person would be carrying, I believe it was 5 different colored flags, and they had to be directed into where to put their flag in the color-coded bucket. Which part would you have done?
I would have been okay with either. I feel like I've got a loud enough voice that I'm good. I think me and you both could do either part in this and do quite well. It didn't seem challenging. I liked this challenge more than the stadium challenge, but I did feel like both of these challenges were very close to one another, that it kind of felt like we just did this. We just did like a shouting and you go and get stuff, or you have to go do something. But I did like this one better because I like you have to get the right flag in the right thing, and the boots and walking in sand is difficult anyways. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. That I was like, oh, I guess they're getting their money's worth on walkie-talkies this leg, but like, this leg, right. Or I guess it wasn't the same leg; it was last leg. But yeah, I totally agree with you that we just saw this. Like, we change it up, but this one was the better version of the walkie-talkie direction task.
Definitely.
100%. So people weren't doing too badly. So Dolor was blindfolded, and so was Amanda. I mean, it seems like Amanda does the more of the tasks right now. Aleisha seems to, she's good still, but it seems like Amanda takes a lot more of the initiative to do the more potentially more challenging parts of these tasks. So I'm curious if that's going to come up and flip around later on, because I haven't really seen how Aleisha performs on her own. Not Aleisha, sorry. Ashley performs on her own, you know?
Yeah.
Curious. Very curious. They didn't really seem to have that much problems, though. Ashley and Amanda did really well. They found their clue box quite quickly. I definitely laughed with Dolor and Stan when they're both just fumbling around. Like Stan is he's on the ground and he's trying to find the clue box, and Dolor's just standing there. And I thought that he was going to get in trouble. Feeling his fingers, like his hands. I thought they were going to get in trouble, though, because it didn't seem like Dolor went into the box and took out the clue before Holly came up there. So I wasn't sure if that was something that they were supposed to do and they just let it slide or what. But I thought that they would get in trouble for that, but they didn't. So at the pit stop, it is first Ashley and Amanda. They're going to be getting a Living Reef holiday. Second is Dolor and Holly. I said, wow. And I told you the host loves them because he gave them another hug. I think he hugs them, or they show him hugging them every single leg of the race. Third was Stan and Wayne. Fourth, we thought it was going to be Chris and Aleisha, but apparently one of the flags Chris missed and didn't get it in the bucket. So they had to actually go back and retrace their steps and find that flag and put it into the bucket before they could finish the leg. So it allowed the Cowboys to overtake the fourth position. Fifth is Super Seeks. Sixth is Chris and Aleisha. Seventh is Skye-Blue and Jake. And eighth is Jordan and Violetta. So Chris and Aleisha were still able to, I mean, it was challenging for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like where he disappeared and she couldn't see him, and it was like, what's happening? I don't understand. Like, nobody else is having this problem. I don't understand.
It's like, I don't know. She was just like being like, he's going the wrong direction. It's like, well, tell him to stop walking and then walk forward. Or no, you can't walk forward, but turn around 180 degrees. Like, I don't know. I don't know why she couldn't communicate how to get to that yellow bucket, because it didn't seem that challenging, but I wasn't doing it.
You would think like that would be the one that you're focused on. Like, you're only now getting him to go to one place. So why is he going this other?
You're going the wrong way. That's kind of all it really would take, I would think. So, in the end, though, Jordan and Violetta, they made some mistakes this leg. They weren't really great at communicating. I didn't really see them doing that well in this race. I actually thought, though, that Chris and Aleisha were going to leave this leg, and that Jordan and Violetta were going to come in second to last, but I thought they were going to stay. But no. Jordan and Violetta are done so. So another one bites the dust from my team.
Yeah. Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow is right. But wow, how about we look at the survey for next week? Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's do that. All right. So, what is the best strategy when multiple teams are shouting instructions to one another from a distance?
You'd have to change you'd have to have figured out some sort of new vocabulary, like maybe letters or colors or up, down. Like, you can't be saying a lot of things. It has to just be, I would think, very decisive things like stop, right, 10 steps. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to really break it down so they can hear you. You can't just be like, like, you can't yell a lot of stuff because it would just get mixed up in the noise, I would think. Do you have a better idea?
No, I mean, I think that, I agree. You have to have some sort of language. I think in the one where it was on the sand dunes, I think if you came up with a time thing when they're blindfolded and you're like, okay, you're facing 12 o'clock and say, okay, now you've got to go 9 o'clock, turn 9 o'clock, and now 12, 100%. Go. Like, I think try and think about it that way. But I
mean, 9, using a clock is always how I give directions to anybody just in regular life. So I was surprised that people didn't use that when it wasn't working, saying go to your right, 3 o'clock would have been more effective, I think. So I totally agree with you there. Because it's little sundial, you go to 3 o'clock and just it's 90 degrees, Agreed.
Can you speak German or Swahili?
Well, I can speak Zulu. I cannot speak Swahili. German, I used to be able to sing Ode to Joy, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in German. I know what it sounds like a little bit. It's like, Freuden schön and gut vergessen, should I hide to... wait, hold on, how does it go? Deine Zeit wird wie der was die Moden zwänge Tau. I can't remember anymore, but this is 30 years ago
good.
When I was in choir.
Hey, that's good that that's still in your head, though. That's good.
Well, same with the Zulu one. It's like Zia hambe kukenyen kwenkos, Zia hambe kukenyen kwenkos, Zia hambe kukenyen kwenkos, Zia hambe kukenyen kwenkos, Zia hamba ooh, Zia hambe kukenyen kwenkos. And this is in 5-part harmony. This is. Because we always had to. I was in many choirs, so I know multiple songs in multiple languages randomly.
Nice. True or false? You should always answer the roadblock clue truthfully when deciding who should go to a task, as opposed to overthinking what a hidden meaning could be. Ooh.
Okay, I think I'll say yes, except when it may imply something that one person definitely cannot do. So if it has something to do with like a deep dive and I can't swim, you know what I mean? Like if it could mean something like that, I'd be like, listen, it might be a swimming task. Or if someone's afraid of heights and it sounds like it's going to be a heights thing, like maybe like it sounds like it might be heights though. So like this should be you, but if it's heights, would you be able to do it? You know what I mean? So I would probably I would say yes, but I would look to see if it could be anything. If it was taken in any other context, would be detrimental if the other person were to do it.
Perfect. Well, did MJ and Chelsea make the right call on how they divided up the salvage and sabotage passes?
I mean, to win, yeah. That team direction. I mean, they didn't know what it was going to be, but Directions is definitely could have made them lose that leg and they would have gotten them out. Like, I think the idea should be if you salvage or sabotage a team, they should go out. Like, they should be the ones that leave that leg. And so if they don't, that means that they did give the right team that because they were strong enough to overcome it. So I do think that they did a good job. I don't think that the Cowboys would have lost. I don't know, actually. But, no, I think they made the right choice there for competitively.
Which of the remaining teams would you want to work with in an intersection task?
Actually, probably the Gold Coast girls. They definitely seem to be really well-rounded. It seems like every leg Amanda's like, oh, I used to do this when I was younger. Oh, I used to do this with my dad. So she has a lot of talents that are like surprising. And so I would feel confident with them. Not confident with them dancing, but then I could be the dancer if it was a dancing intersection. I think that the Gold Coast girls were probably the best team to have in that particular challenge.
Yeah, and it was funny, actually. We heard quite a number of the teams, like the Super Seeks, the Cowboys. They were saying, like, the first team that they would say of who do we want to work with was the girls, Ashley and Amanda. So
I think it's they thought that they would be there, right?
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah. I mean, I would also like, it depends on the task. And if there's anybody that really fills any weaknesses that we might have, like that could overcome those things, then that would definitely factor in as well. But you don't usually know what the task is anyway. So, how much do you think the salvage pass helped this round?
Oh, they didn't really show anything about it. So
not really. Well, they didn't get lost.
They didn't get lost, but it wasn't part of the storyline, so it probably...
And they didn't come first, yeah, so...
Nah.
And how much did the sabotage hurt?
It didn't seem to be part of the story, so I guess not.
How about what task from leg 11 or 12 was the hardest?
Okay, do you have the tasks written there again? Sorry.
The stadium picture find, the German dance, the German dinner, the Swahili sing, the fish throw, the bocce game, the buoy setup, or the sand dune blindfold challenge.
I think the buoy setup is the hardest. Diving down, if you're not a great swimmer, is challenging, and it seems 4 meters is quite deep. And to be able to do that part, that would be kind of challenging. So I think that would probably be the hardest task. And then next to that would be the stadium one, I think.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement there. The blindfold one might have been as well, just on the going up the hill, I think.
Maybe the hill, but I think it's pretty.
Were you sad to see Jordan and Violetta eliminated?
No. I mean, because they're on my team, yes. But them and Chris and Aleisha, the same type of team to me that just just get it together and just do what you guys are good enough. Just do it. Like I'm not really into whiners and like, always needed to be pumped up in a way. It's not just once in a while where like, defeated, just get so defeated all the time that it's not enjoyable for me to watch them beat themselves up over something. You know what I mean? So I was fine with them going because I didn't see them winning and I didn't want to see them not do well again,
Right. All right. And your last question, which team that is remaining would you be most disappointed seeing win this season?
Oh, MJ and Chelsea or Stan and Wayne. Like Stan and Wayne, like I would be really disappointed in them winning. That would be such a bust.
But I don't think that they will.
No,
like,
that's not
no. Yeah, that would be a shocker to me if they won. MJ and Chelsea, I think, have the ability to win. Yeah. So, all right. Well, all the listeners, please comment along. Let us know. Fill out the survey. It's in the description there.
Perfect. That'd be amazing. And you kind of alluded to what you have going on, but you want to just give that little plug one more time before we sign off here?
Definitely. Well, in addition to doing amazing, fun podcasts with the wonderful Chantele here on Reality Realness, I also host games on Good Time Games with Adam and Phil. Feel free to find us on Facebook. This Sunday, we have a game in the afternoon where you can play a bunch of games with people. Or if you want to play an online strategy elimination game, we have one called Tag that will be themed to the Oscars on Friday the 23rd of April, and you can win a cash prize.
Ooh, well, speaking of cash, because on that mission to that 1,000 subscribers, so if you subscribe, even if you've already subscribed and you decided to figure out a way to subscribe again, if you do so and send me a screenshot. So I kind of opened up Reality Realness with 3 S's at gmail.com. If you send it to there, there's also an email attached to this YouTube account. Anywhere you can find me, send a screenshot of you subscribing. And if it doesn't say your name clearly and your name, I will be giving a $100 gift card to Amazon. So if you're in America, it would be $100 American. If you're in Canada, it would be $100 Canadian. Or if you're in Canada, I can give you an email transfer if you want. So this is only going to happen when I get to 1,000 subscribers. So we're 3/4 of the way there. 250 more people need to subscribe, and then I will even do the draw live, and you will see it live on Reality Realness with 3 S's. So let's just make that happen ASAP. I want to give away some money. Just give away some money. Let's just do it.
And they do it, then they get notified every time you go live.
That's true.
And you can hear all these other shows, because I mean, it's not just Amazing Race Australia you're talking about.
No. Also talking about Big Brother Canada 3 times a week, which is also a lot of fun. We're doing the challenge. I mean, the challenge is still on. It's like in its 5th month, season 36. And then we just started last week doing the challenge All-Stars. So if you watch the challenge back in the day and you love your OGs, like this is the season for you to watch. So we're doing that on Fridays. So yes, there's still lots of stuff coming on here on Reality Realness with 3 S's. So subscribe, win that money, and help us get to our goal. That's all I got.
Wonderful.
Yay! We'll see you guys next week. Ciao.